What if I told you that the very glass of water you are drinking right now, the one you've been told is the secret to good health, might actually be the reason you feel so tired, dizzy, and surprisingly dehydrated? It sounds completely backward, doesn't it? We have been told for decades that the answer to every ailment, from dry skin to fatigue, is simply to drink more water. But here is the scientific truth that hardly anyone talks about. Once you pass the age of 60, your body's chemistry changes in a fundamental way. At this stage of life, drinking large amounts of plain water can actually flush essential minerals right out of your system, leaving your cells thirsty even while your stomach is full. It creates a paradox where you are drinking constantly, visiting the bathroom every hour, yet you still feel parched and sluggish. I am Dr. Emily Hart, and I am here to help you navigate these changes with confidence and clarity. My goal is to help you stop fighting against your body and start working with its natural, evolving wisdom. I want to explain exactly why this happens and give you a simple, almost magical solution that costs pennies and takes seconds. But before we dive into the science of yourselves, I would love to feel the presence of our community. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from today? I love seeing where our community of strong, curious women comes together from all corners of the globe. And if you are ready to finally understand your body's new rules, please consider subscribing so we can keep learning together. Let's start by talking about a frustration I hear almost every single day in my practice. A woman, perhaps much like yourself, comes in and says, Dr. Emily, I am doing everything right. I carry my water bottle everywhere. I count my ounces. I am drinking 8, sometimes 10 glasses a day. But look at my skin. It is still dry and crepey. I still have brain fog. And honestly, I am exhausted from running to the bathroom all day and night. Does that sound familiar? It is an incredibly disheartening feeling to put in so much effort to be healthy, only to feel like it isn't working. The conventional wisdom of 8 glasses of water a day is repeated so often, it feels like a religious commandment. But that advice was largely designed for a standard 30-year-old physiology. It does not account for the beautiful, complex changes that happen in a woman's body after 60. The reality is that for you, right now, plain water is often acting less like a hydrator and more like a solvent. When you drink plain water in isolation, without food or minerals, it enters a body that is desperately trying to hold on to its chemical balance. Instead of staying in your body to nourish your tissues, that plain water rushes through, picking up valuable electrolytes like sodium and magnesium on its way out, and flushing them down the toilet. You aren't just hydrating, you are stripping your body of the very batteries it needs to run. You might be wondering, but why now? I used to drink water just fine in my 40s. It's a valid question, and the answer lies in these silent, invisible changes happening in your kidneys. This is where we need to uncover the leaky bucket effect. To understand this, I want you to visualize your kidneys not as medical organs, but as a brilliant filtration system, something like a very fine mesh sieve or a sponge. In our younger years, our kidneys are incredibly efficient at concentrating urine. They are master conservators. They know exactly how to hold on to water and salts, keeping them circulating in your blood, so you stay hydrated even if you don't drink for a few hours. It is a tight, efficient system. But as we age, natural structural changes occur. The filtering units, called nephrons, decrease in number, and the kidney's responsiveness to hormones signals changes. Think of it like a sturdy wooden bucket that you have used for years. In the beginning, the wood was swollen and tight, and it held every drop of water you put in it. But over decades of faithful service, the wood has dried out slightly, and tiny gaps have appeared between the slats. Now, when you pour water into that bucket, a significant amount seeps right out through those gaps before you can even use it. This is essentially what happens to the aging kidney. It loses some of its ability to concentrate urine. This means that when you drink plain water, Your kidneys can't hold on to it as tightly as they once did. The water flows right through you, taking minerals with it. This explains why you can drink a large glass of water and feel the urgent need to use the restroom 30 minutes later. Your internal bucket is a little bit leaky. It is not a disease. It is a natural part of the aging process. But if you keep pouring plain, thin water into a leaky bucket, you're never going to fill it up. You're just going to create a puddle. We need a way to make that water stickier so it stays in the bucket. And to understand how to do that, we have to look even deeper, past the kidneys, to the microscopic world of your individual cells. Because getting water into your body is one thing, but getting it inside your cells is a completely different challenge. Imagine for a moment 2 pieces of fruit sitting on your kitchen counter. On the left, you have a fresh, plump, firm grape. It is tight, shiny, and full of life. On the right, you have a raisin, wrinkled, dry, and shrunken. The difference between these two is simply water, but specifically, it is water inside the cells. We want your cells to look like that grape, plump and resilient. That's what gives you energy, smooth skin, and clear thinking. When your cells look like the raisin, you feel tired, your skin loses elasticity, and your joints ache. Here is the problem with plain water. It often gets stuck hanging out outside the cells. When you drink copious amounts of filtered tap water or bottled water, it enters your bloodstream and surrounds your cells. But it cannot just walk through the cell wall. The cell membrane is a guarded gate. It is very picky about what it lets in. If the water hanging out outside the cell doesn't have the right key, the gate stays locked. So, what happens? The water pools around the cells. This is why you might feel puffy, bloated, or have swollen ankles, yet your mouth still feels dry. You are essentially waterlogged, but dehydrated at the cellular level. You have water everywhere, but not a drop to drink for your cells. The key that opens the cellular door is electrolytes, specifically a delicate balance of sodium and potassium. Without these minerals acting as the doorman, the water just sits there, or worse, is flushed away by your kidneys. We need to turn that water into a delivery system, not just a fluid. And if we don't, if we keep forcing plain water into a system that can't absorb it, we risk something much more dangerous than just dry skin. We risk our stability, our balance, and our safety. This brings us to one of the most frightening aspects of aging that hardly anyone connects to hydration: dizziness and the risk of falling. I want to talk about those moments that make your heart stop, when you stand up too quickly from your favorite chair, or you get out of bed in the morning and suddenly the room gives a little spin. Maybe you feel lightheaded or your vision goes fuzzy for a second. It is terrifying. We often rush to the doctor fearing heart issues or neurological problems. And while those are possibilities, there is a much simpler, more common culprit hiding in plain sight. It is called hyponatremia. That is a big medical word that simply means low salt in the blood. When you drink too much plain water without replacing minerals, you dilute the sodium levels in your blood. Sodium is absolutely critical for nerve signals and maintaining blood pressure. When your sodium levels drop too low because they've been washed away by overhydration, your blood pressure struggles to adjust when you change positions. Your brain doesn't get that split-second signal to tighten the blood vessels, and down you go. In fact, this is something I really want you to hear because it is so counterintuitive. We are often told that salt is the enemy, that it causes high blood pressure and heart attacks. But for women over 60, low sodium can be just as dangerous as high sodium. It is a delicate balance. When your sodium is too low, your brain cells can actually swell slightly as they try to balance the fluid levels, leading to confusion, unsteadiness, and that dangerous brain fog. This is a "wheat really" moment for so many of my patients. I have seen women reduce their dizziness significantly, not by taking a new medication, but by actually drinking less plain water and adding more of the right kind of salt. It challenges everything we've been told about heart health in the media, doesn't it? If this surprises you, or if you've ever felt that woozy sensation after a day of drinking lots of water, let me know in the comments. It is a controversial topic, but understanding the nuance could be the thing that keeps you steady on your feet. But please, do not run to the kitchen and start eating spoonfuls of table salt. That is not the solution. There is a villain in the story, and there is a hero. And we need to make sure you know the difference. We have arrived at the pinch of magic. If plain water is the problem and sodium deficiency is the risk, does that mean we should start shaking the salt shaker over every meal? Absolutely not if you are using standard white table salt. That stark white, free-flowing salt you see in diners is a highly processed industrial product. It has been stripped of all its natural minerals, bleached, and mixed with anti-caking agents that can be hard on your system. It is pure sodium chloride. And yes, that kind of salt can spike your blood pressure and cause fluid retention in the worst way. That is the villain we want to avoid. The hero of our story is unrefined, mineral-rich salt. Think of Celtic sea salt, which is often a grayish color and feels a little moist to the touch, or pink Himalayan salt. These salts are not just sodium. They're complex packages containing over 80 trace minerals, including magnesium, calcium, and potassium. This is crucial because nature never packages sodium alone. In the ocean and in our bodies, sodium is always accompanied by a family of other minerals. When you take a tiny pinch of Celtic salt, just a couple of crystals, you are not just making things salty, you are providing the electrical spark your body runs on. You see, water is a conductor of electricity, but only if it has minerals in it. Pure water actually doesn't conduct electricity well at all. Your body is electric. Your heartbeat, your nerve thoughts, your muscle movements, they are all electrical impulses. By adding that pinch of mineral salt to your water, you are turning dead water into living fluid. This mineral-rich water is what opens the door to your cells. The magnesium helps relax the cell wall, and the sodium pushes the water inside. It transforms the water from a stranger passing through into a welcome guest. Suddenly, you aren't just wetting your throat, you are re-inflating your cells like that plump grape. This is how you stop the constant peeing, because your body is actually holding on to the hydration and using it. But how do you actually do this? You don't need to change your entire diet or buy expensive electrolyte powders. I am going to show you a morning ritual that takes less than 30 seconds, but can change your entire energy level for the day. This is where we turn theory into practice. I want you to try this tomorrow morning. When you wake up, before you have your coffee or tea, I want you to pour yourself a glass of warm water. Warm water is gentler on your stomach and easier for your aging digestive system to process than ice-cold water. Now, take a single large crystal of Celtic sea salt or a tiny pinch, about the size of a grain of rice, and place it on your tongue. Let it dissolve for just a second and then drink your warm water. Alternatively, you can stir that tiny pinch directly into the water. It shouldn't taste like seawater, it should just taste slightly softer, maybe barely saline. Why do we do this first thing? Because you have been dehydrating all night. You breathe out moisture while you sleep. By introducing this mineralized water immediately, you are sending a signal to your body. Here is the fuel you need. You are priming your kidneys, you are replenishing the electrolytes lost during the night, and you are ensuring that your blood volume is healthy so you don't get dizzy when you start moving around. Many of my community members call this their morning spark. They report that within a week, the brain fog lifts. They notice they aren't running to the bathroom every 20 minutes. Their skin looks a little more luminous. It is such a small thing, a literal pinch, but it corrects the chemistry that has been out of balance. It respects the fact that your body needs minerals to hold on to water. And once you have done this in the morning, you can drink your regular water throughout the day, perhaps adding a squeeze of lemon or another tiny pinch if you have been sweating. You are no longer flushing your system, you are nourishing it. This brings us to a place of empowerment. It is easy to feel like our bodies are betraying us as we get older. We feel the dryness, the fatigue, the dizziness, and we think, well, this is just what it means to be 60 or 70 or 80. We resign ourselves to the decline. But I want you to know that is not true. These symptoms are not a moral failing, and they are not an inevitable sentence. They are simply a chemistry puzzle. And you, my dear, are smart enough to solve it. Your body is not broken, it is just different. It has evolved. It requires a slightly different owner's manual than it did 30 years ago. By understanding the leaky bucket of the kidneys, by visualizing the grape of the cells, and by befriending the right kind of salt, you are taking control. You are saying that you deserve to feel vibrant, stable, and energized. You deserve to walk through your day without fear of falling and without the exhaustion of dehydration. I want you to try the pinch of salt tomorrow morning. Just try it for 3 days. Listen to your body. See if that mid-afternoon slump feels a little less heavy. See if your head feels a little clearer. And then, please, come back and tell me. Your experience helps other women realize they aren't imagining things and that there are simple solutions to these complex feelings. If this video opened your eyes to a new way of thinking about your health, please give it a like. It helps this message reach other women who are struggling with fatigue and don't know why. And do not forget to subscribe to our channel. We are building a sanctuary here, a place where we stop fighting aging and start mastering it. I'm Dr. Emily Hart, reminding you that true health isn't about drinking the most water, it's about absorbing the most life. I will see you in the next video.